pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, lost my balance. Okay, first up, we have the public hearing and vote on the school choice program for the 2022-2023 school year. I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing on school choice.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, Mrs. Cohen?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mrs. Stern? She's not on it. Mr. Sheedy?
Yes.
Okay, for Mrs. Stern? Kathleen, did you get the? Okay, we're gonna go on with the 4-0 vote.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we're gonna go with 5-0. The public hearing on school choice is now open. I will turn it over to Dr. Beck.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. As you know, members of the committee, by state statute, the school committee in every community of the Commonwealth must vote prior to June 1st and prepare its decision to the state to consider to be a school choice district. If you in fact don't, you automatically do become one. And as you know, we have been a district of choice since the 2014-15 school year. If Karen, if you could put up that, thank you. So for the public tonight, and the committee has it in front of them, we started school choice and we utilized the January of each year, including January of this year, number of students that we have had in our district. You'll note that in January 2015, for the 14-15 year, we had 11 students broken up into basically 4 students at the elementary level and the remaining 6 students at the secondary level. We do not accept students in grades 11 and 12, but students matriculate into 11 and 12 once they're here. We moved to 36 students in 2016, 52 students in 2017, 86 students in 2018. By the way, at that point, area districts started to also have school choice. January of 19, we had 110, 139 in 20, 168 in 21, and this year 195. Including our biggest class in 8th grade with 28, which would be not only students moving in from the lower grade, but also new students coming in. That's how it works. The total compensation for each of these students is a minimum of $5,000. We're averaging easily over $6,400. And we, to date, just counting on the 5,000, to date, the town of Norton School Department has received a minimum of $3.985 million. $3.985 million. As you all know, it has started everything to do with one-to-one. It has implemented many of our curriculum ideas over the last few years. Our professional development with trauma-sensitive schools, professional development, everything and anything that you can think of in starting new programs, including the biggest one for us, which was full-day kindergarten, which, as the committee knows, the charter school enrollment currently is at 68 students from Norton, down from 203 the first year that I was here in 2013-14 school year. Pretty significant impact. And then the impact that we have families who want to come here because of our reputation for being a solid school system that does great things. And as I always say for the record, including the superintendents of schools who sends his only child here. So I am recommending that we continue to move forward with school choice, especially because we have at least one other neighboring community that's entering school choice. And that we go kindergarten through grade 10, and that we have it open until September 1st, which would be the week before school opens on the Tuesday. Thereafter, we do not. The only time that we do is a sibling situation, student already here, or a Norton student who is moving out of town and wishes to stay for the remainder of that academic year or to continue on. The committee has always given me that leeway, and the state does as well. So recommending that the committee vote to support K through 10 open enrollment to September 1st. And as I informed the committee, we have up-team phone calls and messages already of people interested, including a text message I received yesterday from a former select person. So those are my thoughts.
Okay, so I just very quickly will say I obviously supported a back of the napkin estimate on our 2022 numbers gives us $6,200, gives us about 1.2 million. We're going to work on a budget right after this. It just, again, back of the napkin, that is about 3.5% of our entire budget. So I want to point out, and on the school committee here, we've talked about this ad nauseum. Without this money, we would be in extremely dire straits. I cannot emphasize that enough. I don't know that we can survive without the money. So that's all I have to say about it. I approve the no count all grades. I'm going to open up for any questions or comments.
I think it just goes to show, and I know we've said this before, but the numbers increasing like that is because of the district that we have created here, from from you, Dr. Bayer, all the way down to our teachers, our custodians, our administrative assistants. It's just the entire system that people really want to be a part of and buy into, and we are extremely grateful for it, because it would be in a far different situation if we didn't have it.
Yeah, it's fair to say, it's not perfect. Nothing's perfect, right? But we just wouldn't have some of the things that make us marketable if it wasn't. And then you'll see later on this year some connections to our college students, students that have gone on and continuing education, and how our one-to-one initiative and all of that has only made them have better skills as they have moved on and made us more competitive with not only districts like us, but districts actually that we are trying to emulate in some way.
Yeah, I think when we look at January or the 2014-15 school year, when you kind of suggested this,
right,
I think there was a lot of concern about it.
Right.
I think that change is never easy, but what's really amazing is that our numbers still, so back then there was no competition to it, right? There was just sort of Norton. We were once again kind of leading the way. But I think now that there is so much competition to school choice, and that our numbers are not only sort of steady, but increasing, I sort of want to agree with Sherry and thank you and your sort of team and staff who have really done amazing work to educate our children. So, because without that, I don't think that we would see these numbers the way that they are. And I think we all know that the benefit to us and to all of our students is really just unimaginable, because we never could have been so prepared for one-to-one when we sent our kids home at Covert 2 years ago now. So, thanks to everybody.
Well, I can tell you as a parent of a school choice who has to be up and out the door at 5 minutes to 7 every morning just to get here on time. And mostly my spouse does it, but I think it speaks, Norton's always had a solid reputation. But it had a lot of a one-way street when it came to go to the charter, and as you know, a significant number of kids also go into private school. Of course, the Voc school, which I've always thought is an extension of our district, that they're not really a competition in many ways, because we can never provide some of the things that a traditional Voc and Aggie does. But it was time to get into the game and tell everybody else, including our own parents, how good we were doing and how much better we could do. And I think it's helped to stabilize things. So.
Dan or Kathleen, do you have anything? No? Okay.
Nope.
And I don't see Karen texting me that there are any questions online from the online participants. So without further ado, I will close the discussion.
Motion to close. Yep. Need a motion to close.
Motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, Mrs. Cohen,
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher,
Yes.
Mrs. Stern,
yes,
Mr. Sheedy,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. Okay. Next, I would entertain a motion to approve the school choice program with no cap on the K through 12 grades.
So moved.
Great to Kate.
K to 10.
Sorry, K to 10. Apologies.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, Mrs. Cohen,
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher,
Yes.
Mrs. Stern,
yes,
Mr. Sheedy,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. Passes 5-0. Thank you. Okay. Moving on, we're gonna go to the, public hearing and vote on the 2023 school budget. I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing on that.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
all those in favor of Mrs. Cohen?
yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mrs. Stern?
Yes.
Mr. Sheedy?
Yes.
Mr. Savas is yes. I will turn it back over to Joe.
Thank you. And I'm gonna have Ms. Winsper help me out, just put up a very simple PowerPoint that kind of speaks a little bit to what we're trying to accomplish this year. And we really have 5 goals that we're trying to establish. You're going to see a lot of discussion about this in our strategic plan that will be coming forward as a draft of the committee probably in the next month, which is the Vision 2022, which we really have recalculated things we haven't been able to do and moved it into a Vision 26. But over time, the word new normal is going to go away, and we're already starting to do that today. But we're looking to do the academic acceleration. We've been talking about the social emotional learning and mental health of our students, stabilizing the school day, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a second, enhancing student opportunities, and celebrating success. There is no doubt that we all have learned a lot during the last 2 years. Now, this coming weekend will be 2 years that we closed our schools into full remote and came back in all kinds of hybrids, and then finally in person with all kinds of other moves. So we know that there's work to be done, and we've done great work thanks to our A+ teaching and support staff that we have in our district in really trying to target some of our students' needs to date. But I think we need to up the ante, and you're going to see some real definitive numbers of proficiency around literacy and reading that I'm going to be proposing for the district to accomplish over the next 3 to 4 years. We are going to target some real aggressive numbers and utilize data and assessment practices locally. As you know, one MCAS score for Norton Public Schools is not how we define ourselves. We define ourselves by looking at multiple pieces of data, but we're going to have an aggressive goal around that, and we're going to be targeting K to 3. We're going to eliminate a lot of this, what I would call attempt to do things in terms of the Band-Aid effect, and really just say, in order for this to work long-term, we got to get into those classrooms in K to 3 and really support our wonderful staff that are doing great work. In terms of the social, emotional learning, and mental health, the committee, more so than the general public, knows that anytime there's an ambulance call to our schools, we inform the committee because we don't want the committee to be shopping in here that there was an issue at a school. There are no specifics in that communication. It's a child was hospitalized or a child X or there was a fight or whatever, which knock on wood we haven't been communicating about. But the mental health issues are in fact up. We all know that. I think many of us as parents see it with our own kids, our neighbors' kids, down at the soccer field, hockey. It doesn't matter. We see certain things we haven't seen before. But there's also this quiet group of kids that we really have to target that we're really worried about in terms of their social, emotional, and mental health needs. And so this is going to be very much a collaborative effort that we really want to push with our families. You know that we have some things that we've already purchased during the year, including the interface. We want to do more work with that. But we also are you're going to see some counseling supports in our budget. Stabilizing the school day. This is all about getting back to what should the school day look like? What should a classroom, good practices look like where people are feeling, yes, safe, but also we are moving our enrichment and our practices to the next level. Looking at things like project-based learning as an initiative to really move us forward. And again, not a one-year thing, but starting it. Enhancing student opportunities, making sure that we do have the day-to-day opportunities for students by, for example, keeping our enrichment, our intervention staff, making sure that those staff are supporting students who really need it during the school day, because school day works. And then celebrating the success, which I think all of you know is something that I really like to do, not the fluff of it, but really celebrating the things that we do well and recreating it and making sure that it's out there. In terms of, you can go to the next slide. In terms of the priorities, there's 3 main areas. As you know, we have our mandates, we have general education, and actually we decided this year to also take a look at transportation, because transportation has become a significant part of our budget over the last few years. So under mandates, we have special education with teaching and learning, our specialized programs, as you know, our Little Lances preschool, which starts as a mandated program, but also has our students that are here in the classroom, our extended year programming, and of course our growing English language learner population. General education is everything to do with teaching and learning as well, but now we're talking about the general education classroom where we in fact do have inclusion practices, but it's also everything else that's in there, our AP classes at the high school, for example, our early college programming, and so on. And then, and actually one of the more successful ones for us, our full day kindergarten program, which has been very successful. And then the yellow bus transportation and special education, which has now become a significant portion of our budget, even though we're charging we collect $135,000 in fees. Next slide. I would suggest to you that this budget is a level services budget. It's keeping what we have, and we're only adding one half-time music teaching position currently into the budget for the middle school, backfilling the Yale school. I want to be very careful that everybody at the Yale knows this. We are now eliminating music at the Yale. What we're doing is potentially moving that teacher full-time to the middle school, which will only enhance our schedule at the middle school and opportunities for kids, and then still hiring someone who's roughly a little bit more than half-time at the Yale school. And then the three mandated positions are, I'll start from the bottom, the transitional specialist position, which is really working with students who are transitioning out of high school into the workforce in particular, or into state support services, and making sure that the family knows what's happening with students and is getting those supports. In some cases, when students turn 22, they leave us, and there are some real supports that we need to have for those families. The school adjustment counselor for programs K to 5, that is for the Best in Grit program, K to 5. This would alleviate the adjustment counselor that's in the building full time to actually now work more time with the regular population, if you will, in terms of making sure that the general population has access to that. And then the inclusion teacher at Norton High School is a move to have more supports in the general education classroom by having a special education teacher involved. We will be looking for 3 special education teachers for the high school this fall. That is not going to be easy. So if you are interested in becoming a special educator in Norton Public Schools, 508-285-0100, or email me, because it's going to be hard positions to fill. The deferred at this time literally means what we've always done in the past, which was we've prioritized things that we want to have in this budget, but because of cost, they will become available as the budget potentially becomes better for us, due to retirements, due to people leaving, due to all of those situations. The science teacher at Norton High School is not, I repeat, is not a new position. That is a backfill position. If you remember, we made a very critical decision to start computer science at the high school by when we had a science teacher leave, not filling the science position and filling computer science. We're at the point now that we need that science position. The library media specialist is a split position for Norton Middle School. It is a little bit of it's difficult to get. I'm the superintendent of schools, and I'm in a library, and my bookcases are empty. So it's time for us to work on that. That is a priority for us. The Yale School, as you know, you were there Saturday. Thank you to our parents at the Yale. Oh my goodness, the library looks completely new. And thank you to their work. And now we need a professional in there as well. The grade 2 teachers are really all about class size. That is a huge target for me because that's the one area where the class size is being right around that 23. I want to bring them down. That said, Kathy Luke, our principal at the LB, is here. She knows that space is an issue. So we're going to have to get creative there if we in fact go that route. The Dean of Students at Norton Middle School, this has really been a push by all of us, but really the school committee has been very much involved with this because we've had such success both at the Yale and the high school with that position. That's not an administrative position, that's a teachers union position. That's really a student affairs position, working with students, motivating students, getting them into school, making sure that if there's discipline needed, it's carried out, following through on all that. The coordinator of curriculum in 6 to 12 is one for STEM and one for humanities. Those right now are on hold as well. And those are around aligning our curriculum in 6 to 12. That's one of the big things that we need to do over the next few years. And then lastly, the wellness teacher, and that's slated for Norton Middle School as well. So those would be target areas for us. The next slide gets us into a discussion of the actual numbers. It's a 4.84% increase, 1.569926 increase from the prior year or the current year. It's broken down into the increases, roughly 752,000 increase in mandated education, 747 K in general education, and a 61,875 in transportation, which doesn't seem a lot, but with the actual cost center, it's actually pretty significant because we have an increase in special education transportation of over $200,000. So the total budget request is $33,831,510. That is the budget we are recommending and the school committee has seen. In the next slide, I just want to make sure that everybody knows this. These are big numbers. 2.105 million is in school choice funds into this budget. So the 1,500,000 that we're asking, those are straight town of Norton funds that we're asking for. So as you see, these millions upon millions of dollars in these accounts, school choice, the revolving accounts, 1,527,500, the grants at 1,751,500, which is the federal grants as well as all of the other Title I's and all that stuff that we get, and then the circuit breaker, which is the special education tuition reimbursement process, if you will, at 75% for 1.4 million. Those are all included in this budget, and those are pretty significant numbers of other revenue coming in to offset our budget to the operating budget and of course to the taxpayer. And then lastly, I added a different section this year. This is just really if you want to really get into this, the line items will be on the district webpage probably by Monday. And then if you have overall questions, reach out to me. Questions about teaching and learning and the grants, Dr. O'Neill, or if you have general questions about contracts, fees, transportation, all of that, Mr. Wells, our school business administrator. We are recommending flat fees across athletics and transportation, no increase, $250, maintaining it across the board at this time. And we can do that with this budget going forward.
Okay. The members of the school committee discussed this budget at fairly great length on the March 5th meeting, so I don't have any questions at this time. I don't know if anybody else does. I think most of us have discussed it. So, Dan, Kathleen, do you guys have any questions?
Nope.
No? Okay.
Nope, I'm good.
And I don't see anything from Karen, so it does not look like there are any public questions as well.
One more piece of information, we are in negotiations with our NTA teacher para union, and we are definitely working positively and moving in the right direction. I met with the custodians today. That is going in a positive direction. And then our last group is the administrative assistants, and you'll be getting a tentative agreement pending their approval that we've negotiated with them. So we'll potentially have one done in the next month, and I think all of them done in the next, I'd say 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay. All right. With no other questions from the committee or the public, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, Mrs. Cullen,
Yes.
Mrs. Scally,
Yes.
Mrs. Stern,
Yes.
Mr. Sheedy,
Yes.
Mr. Savas is a yes. Public hearing is closed. I would now entertain a motion to approve the FY 2023 superintendent's budget of $33,831,510.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, Mrs. Cullen,
Yes.
Mrs. Scally,
Yes.
Mrs. Stern,
Yes.
Mr. Sheedy,
Yes.
Mr. Savas is a yes as well. That is approved.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go now to kind of our general meeting. Before we do, I probably should have said this prior to any of this, but I do want to point out that this meeting is being recorded and request that anybody who is recording it outside of us, please let us know so that we have that record. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go to the vote to approve the minutes of the February 10th, 2022 open session meeting. Has everybody had a chance to look at those? And if so, does anybody have any issues? No? Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes as written.
So, second,
All those in favor, Mrs. Cohen?
yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mrs. Stern?
Yes.
Mr. Sheedy?
Yes.
Mr. Savas, yes. Next up, we have the warrants.
I reviewed and approved the following warrants: school expense warrants, February 16th, 2022, $9,952.35. March 2nd, 2022, $354,628.78. School payroll warrants, February 10th, 2022, $1,056,929.06. February 24th, 2022, $1,107,210.13. I wish to enter them into public record.
So they will be. All right, next up, we have our student representatives. I see Zoe and Malia both on. I'll turn it over to you guys.
Hi guys, so we're gonna start with the JCS. Dr. Marcus said that JCS is beginning their house meetings this week in their newly decorated Under the Sea cafeteria. They said in order to promote more connections among students of different grade levels and to form tighter bonds in school, JCS is broken up into 5 houses with 1 class from pre-K to 3rd grade. In these groups of about 100, students will do various activities to get to know each other better and be able to have a stronger voice in the goings-on of the school. When asked about what they were doing, students wanted everybody to know that on Read Across America Day, on March 2nd, the JCS students read 62,041 words as a collective team, and they are very proud of their accomplishment. I'm going to turn it over to Zoe for the LGN.
Yep. Hi. So for the LGN, they each did something separate. For the kindergarten, grade 1. So the kindergartners are learning to read. Very exciting. They've been learning about measurement and math, and they learned the words height, length, and width. They said that comparing objects is very fun. And they've also been practicing writing sentences on their own. For 1st grade, students are reading like crazy, and they've been working on nonfiction teaching books and becoming nonfiction experts. So that's pretty exciting. And for 2nd grade, they're thrilled to announce that the students will be performing outdoors for their Memorial Day concert this year. And so they're really excited to say that. The kids also finished up writing their nonfiction, and they're now writing beautiful poetry. In math, they're finishing regrouping, and they're going to be learning about time and money. For 3rd grade, they're learning about biographies and creating awesome posters about someone they have researched. And they're also they're in the planning stages for the annual trip around town. For as a school, they did the Read Across America day, so that was pretty exciting because students from the high school got to volunteer to go to the LGN to read to different classrooms, which was pretty exciting because I went to the Yale. I went to the Yale, and they were super excited to see the high school kids and asking them about like, oh, do you guys have recess and just that kind of stuff. So it was pretty cute to see them and how crazy these kids are these days. They have so much energy. It's awesome. They also celebrated Spirit Days, and they had a lot of fun with that. But next, Malia, I think she's going on to the Yale. So she can talk more about that.
So starting today, so Thursday, the Yale released the restriction on students being able to sit outside of their homeroom with any of their friends, and students were super excited for this to happen. They had an online STEAM activity yesterday for all students to participate from a grant from the Norton Cultural Council with I hope I'm saying this right, Mankita from Playful Engineers. The students all participated in the activity Build Along Stickiometry Learning, creating, building, and having fun with their geometric stick creations. We thank Norton Cultural Council and our Yale PTO for funding this fun activity. And Mr. Gagan also said that there will be more announcements coming in the spring. I think Zoe will finish us off with high school.
Yep, so for high school, I mean, all I can say really is Mr. NHS was great in it last night, right? I don't really know how many of you guys went, but I definitely had a lot of fun with that. But a little bit of controversy with that, I guess, is that it might not happen next year, which is kind of sad. A lot of kids are talking about that because some of the juniors are like planning to have it, and all the boys are like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, but a lot of controversy with like binary roles and whether or not it can happen at all with just there's more details, but I probably won't go too far into it just because it's not final yet, but we'll see what happens with that. So definitely say how much you liked it. But overall for the high school, sports have been great. Definitely in senior year, having all of these sports did really well. It's been really exciting for all the teams. Like the swimming team was the most successful year in memory for them. Definitely the gymnastics team too. We were undefeated and TVL champs. Cheerleading, they won sectionals and they're ready to go to nationals next week. They're all talking about it and how they're going to Florida. And indoor track had 4 qualifiers for nationals, so that's really exciting. Basketball, make sure you're at the game on Saturday, or Sunday. And that's it at Wheaton, so they're excited about that, I'm pretty sure. And the girls, they did really well. It was sad to see them lose, but they went pretty far, so that was really exciting. Wrestling team, TVL champs, that's awesome. I think I got them all, but yeah, I don't know if you guys have any questions or want to follow up on any of the schools. There's a lot of information, but we just wanted to do like a overall update because it seemed to be really positive so far.
Sorry, I feel like you're missing one of the teams.
I'm missing a team. I don't think so.
Aren't you on the team that did well?
Yeah, she said.
Oh, you did? I wasn't here. All right, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, of course.
Let off with that.
All right, sorry, my mistake.
Yeah.
So how was it being on stage last night?
Oh, it was so scary. I'm like very kind of just doing this kind of meeting, it's very nerve-wracking for me. So having to stand in front of all those people, especially with just everyone being so energetic and they're all outgoing people, it's definitely tough, but it was really fun. They made it so much fun overall.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was there last night, and I enjoyed it a lot, as I do every year that I either judge or I just go and watch it. And there was talent. I'll just say that. Where talent might be very broadly defined, but there was talent there. I'll leave it at that. It was fun.
You are very judgy.
Yes.
Okay, you can tell the second graders at the LG if they're learning about time and money, you'll never have enough of either one. That's the most I can tell you about that.
Just a simple correction. Basketball is Saturday at 2:00 at Wheaton College.
Saturday, 2:00.
Yeah.
And you have to buy tickets online still?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have the vote to approve the new playground at the LG Norse. Are we going to?
So this is our PTC group. We're going to bring them up. It's all them, all the time. I met with them this last week. Since then, they have some new information, so I'll have them go through the entire process. It requires a school committee vote because it's on school grounds, but in terms of everything else, our organization here, the PTC, is doing it all.
Well, thank you for having us. So the picture in front of you is the playground that we're proposing. We're here today to look for your votes. The playground is broken up into 3 phases, and what you're seeing here is phase 1. Oh, yeah, that's phase 1. Nope, that's the whole, yeah, that's phase 1 right there.
I'm just trying to go back.
That's okay.
All right. So I'm Danielle Conley. This is Christine Irish. We're the co-presidents of the PTC. And again, we're here with Mrs. Luke and the rest of our board here. And just wanted to show you what we've met with Wade. We've met with Dr. Valletta, and they've introduced us to Tim from Childscapes, who put in the JCS playground about 12 years ago. And we've come up with this plan. It would, phase 1 would completely replace the existing structure that's there. And it would include the demolition and the removal of the freight of it. And we're looking to do that this summer. This structure is in stock and it's on sale, and it's a great price, and that's why we like to move on it. It's time sensitive. The sale is going to end at the end of the month, so we'd like to get that moving, and then hopefully with continuing to fundraise, we can look to replace the swings that are out of code and
So that's like their early bird discount for this.
Yes.
Phase 2 and 3 are not in the discounted program, but phase 1 is part of the early bird discount for the spring. So it's a significant discount. It actually covers most of the freight and shipping, most of the tax and
the freight.
Yes. So that's something we didn't want to pass up with you, but
So this is what we're proposing to have done this summer. It would take about a week to completely remove it and put in the new structure. And then we would continue to look into phase 2 and phase 3, which would include in phase 1 actually would include a path from the current pavement, the basketball courts. There'd be a path, an ADA accessible path that will lead you to the new structure.
it's grass mats that go down. And Wade's looked over the whole thing with Tim, that it's something that they can maintain after stuff.
And then the swing sets along the side would be in the same place where the existing swings are. The location of there's some spinners that are in the corner there, that the location of those might change. We might put them to the other side, because that's technically like where the
Yeah, this is kind of looking at it like backwards. But
yes. But yeah, so that's what we proposed, and
questions?
Looks like a lot of fun. I know that Sherry and Carolyn are usually against fun, so I don't know how they'll vote. But I am for it personally, so, because I like, I support it.
Sure. We can tell stories about.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, through you to the committee, I have reached out on behalf of the group to make sure that, let me rephrase this. The PTC's done all of this on their own to fundraising, just as Ms. Gallagher, you remember. But there's a little potential here, and that is the solar panel project at the LGN was to include a donation, a financial donation for revamping the playground. So I've reached out on behalf of the PTC. This is a gift to the school department, but it's a gift that was earmarked for the playground. What that would do is that would move this along a lot quicker. And they could still do fundraising and support it and all of that, but it would move them into that phase 2 and 3 overnight. So Mr. Units is looking into that to see how it was finalized, but it was originally, from my notes, a $20,000 gift for the playground. And as you know, that solar project is up and running. They did give us a pizza party, if I remember correctly, but I want to remember that.
That's a party, $820,000.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we want to see if we can put the pressure on to get that addressed in a positive way. If it's not, we attempted it, but I think we should put some push on it. I may need the committee involved with that as well.
I mean, that was part of the original deal,
Right.
so I would think
It was.
that,
that would make a huge difference.
Yeah.
It really would. We could move this along a lot quicker. We have the funds. We've been fundraising for many years to do phase 1 right now. But to know that we can continue to move forward with phase 2 and phase 3 within the next year, it would be
And they
great.
said that the lead time to, once we order, it's 4 to 8 weeks for phase 1 to come in. But if we were to order the swings and the spinners, they have a faster lead time. So as long as we can get phase 1 in by the end of the month, everything else could follow quickly.
Yeah.
Are we voting on the entirety of the project?
Yes.
Yes,
You're voting
yes.
on providing you're voting to allow for the PTC to complete the playground, all phases of the playground at the LGN.
Any questions from any other members?
I don't have any questions. I just want to thank you guys for, we know we've raised a lot of money in this town, and it takes an active guard, especially during COVID. It takes a lot of work, so thank you
We
so
have
much.
fantastic families.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
We're
awesome.
lucky.
We're
Thank
going to
you.
continue to fundraise, so if anyone knows of any businesses that are looking to donate, they can reach out to the PTC while they accept any donations from local businesses, families, if they have, the means that we'd greatly appreciate it, because we're going to continue to fundraise to make this a great playground. The kids deserve it.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
We do have a question.
Hi, can I just ask a quick question? I apologize. Hi, it's Casey, the special education coordinator. How are you? I would be remiss not to ask that we made sure to look into the accessibility features of the playground before putting it in. I know that you said there was going to be a path, but I'm looking at it. It doesn't look like there's a ramp from the ground up for any of our friends who are have mobility issues or safety issues. to be able to access it?
It's gonna be, I believe it's gonna be flat right from the pavement, directly out to the structure.
You
No, I
to
mean, actually, the actual structure to the ground, I'm sorry.
Okay. I know,
Just
not,
because just from the picture, it doesn't look accessible, so I just want to make sure, I mean, we've got a lot of programs over there and
Sure.
kiddos with special needs that would need to access it as well. So if that could be something that we consider, that would be great.
Yep.
So we're not in violation of any kind of ADA.
Good.
And all that kind of stuff. Okay, thanks.
I think if I could just sort of respond to that, so years ago, and I'm sure that they're much more up to date, when we were doing the JCS playground, it was clearly, they had extreme stipulations about ADA compliance, and that was, I think you said, somebody said 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I can't remember.
Yeah.
We were out there in the winter building the playground because we didn't have enough money to have them install it. So we were, as parents, installing the playground. So, congratulations. I think we know how much work goes into designing and developing and the meetings and raising money. So can't thank you enough. And kids need to have time to play. I think they need to have somewhere to go to really sort of utilize their energy. And so thank you.
2 people in favor of playing, only one that hadn't said that.
Seriously, I'm not gonna mention names, but somebody.
All right, we got any other questions? Any? No? Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve the new playground at the LG Norris.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
all those in favor, Mrs. Cohen,
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher,
yes.
Mrs. Stern,
Yes.
Mr. Sheedy,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
We'll catch up soon.
Thanks.
Okay, next up, we have the review and vote on the 2022-2023 school calendar.
Mr. Chairman, there are no major changes but 2. The first one is that we will be open on Tuesday, November 8th as a district per your thoughts, meaning that day 180 is now Flag Day, Wednesday, June 14th. We must, by law, add the 5 days. Day 185 is Thursday, June 22nd, and that is because we are celebrating Juneteenth on June 19th, that Monday. And the mid-year and final exams will be to be determined at this time. I've asked not only for the data, which I have received, but I want to see the final exam data as per your request, so you should be getting that either in June or through the summer into the fall. We can always make those changes because it only impacts the high school. So the recommendation is to return to school on the Tuesday after Labor Day for our students, to do the traditional welcome back on the 30th of August and the PD on the 31st with our staff. And then grade 1 on Tuesday the 6th through 12th, kindergarten first day on the 7th, and the Little Lancers first day on the 8th of September 2022 for the 22-23 school year, which is just shocking that I'm even saying that. And it doesn't require a vote.
Okay, any questions or issues with it? No, and so no public questions on that as well. I would entertain a motion to approve the 22-23 school calendar as it's written. in our
So
packets. Second,
Second.
all those in favor, Mrs. Cohen,
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher, Mrs. Stern,
Yes.
Mr. Sheedy,
Yes.
and I am a yes as well. So that is approved. Okay, and I am gonna digress momentarily, and say that Zoe was not 100% forthright with us, because Zoe Duran and Liz Lahan are going to the New England Championships for gymnastics as well. I don't know exactly what events they're doing, but they are both going to.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah, sounds exciting.
Next up, we have the Reed's Collaborative Capital Improvement Plan and Capital Reserve Fund presentation and vote.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, through you and the rest of the committee and the public. We belong to 2 collaboratives, the Bi-County Collaborative and the Reed Collaborative. As you also know, our partners in Reed have their deaf and hard of hearing program for 40+ students here in Norton as well. But the Reed Collaborative also runs programs across, like other collaborators, maintaining that their focus is also within the deaf and hard of hearing community, but also other alternative education paths for certain students. And we have this wonderful capital plan that requires by statute that all the community school committees vote. And so under CMR 60357, Section 10, capital, the Education Collaborative may create a capital reserve fund to support costs associated with the acquisition, maintenance, and improvement of this assets, including the property pursuant to a capital plan. Funds in a capital reserve account may be used only for the project or purpose for which the account was established. B, that the establishment of a capital reserve shall be subject to the approval of 2/3 of the member districts, of which we are one. The request for approval must state the reason for the reserve and the limit on the balance, so that's what you'll be voting on tonight. C, that deposits into and withdrawals from the capital reserve shall be proposed and approved through the budget process. I do sit on that as your representative. D, in the event that the purpose for which the capital reserve is created requires modification, the collaborative board of directors shall revise its capital plan and provide notice to all member districts. If the member district does not vote to disapprove the revised capital plan within a 45-day period, that member shall be deemed to have approved the revised plan, 2/3 approval of the member districts. The REITs Collaborative Board of Directors approved a REITs capital plan. I voted in the affirmative, and fund limit on January 27th of this year, and request that the member school committees, in this case the Norton School Committee, approve the reason for the reserve and the limit on the balance that may be held in the reserve. The reason for the reserve is 1, the maintenance and improvement of REITs properties and leased properties of which students from Norton Public Schools attend. 2, provide funding for payment of the lease for REITs Academy Public Day School location during periods of time when enrollment is below expectations. 3, prepare to purchase the location of the Academy Public Day School to eliminate the expense of a lease beyond 10 years. And the capital reserve fund limit is $4 million. And that requires an approval of the school committee and a signature of the chair. Attached to that are the more specifics line items about what we have been doing in terms of capital improvement and fund. And I'm going to choose a few that are really important. One, and probably as significant to us as going forward, is how we are taking to empty and dispose all of the surplus materials at 101 East Grove Street, and literally we have moved it to a brand new area. If you know Middleborough at all, there's a Rotary. Right at that Rotary, there used to be an old insurance company there. We have gutted that completely out, and it's a brand new program for the REIT students and retirement home students, state of the art. We're just, if you were in many ways entering Norton High School, with just so much smaller and different programs. And the replacing the roof at the East Grove Street, the purchasing the switches for interior lighting, those are FY22, and then you have it broken down into what we want to do. So, for example, in 24, we want to replace the windows at 105 East Grove Street. These are all, as Dinesh knows, the not preventative maintenance, but making sure that long-term we're not spending much more than we need to. And it all comes back to the communities that are part of the collaborative. So that's the overview. You also received handouts, and you received details of the reserve fund for your information, and also a video that was provided by the executive director and the business manager. And those will also be up on our website in the near future. REITs Collaborative does outstanding programs for its students, including the students of Norton who attend. And you do have a vote. You'll actually be voting on that again at the next meeting, probably on who you want to be your board member, which to date has been made.
Okay, so a motion to approve the capital improvement plan and capital reserve fund would encompass everything that we need to approve at this point, right?
Correct.
Okay. Are there any questions on it? Yeah, Kathleen?
Nope.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the REITs Collaborative Capital Improvement Plan and Capital Reserve Fund as noted in our packet.
So moved.
Second.
Second,
All those in favor, Mrs. Cohen?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
yes.
Mrs. Stern?
Yes.
Mr. Sheedy?
Yes.
Mr. Savas is a yes as well.
The NLS.
Next up, we have a review and vote on the Norton Middle and Norton High School health surveys.
As you would know, Norton Public Schools has been participating in the middle and high school health survey that's comes from the state. The committee has been provided this ahead of time for the purposes of reviewing it for any input that you may have. It's standard boilerplate, if you will. There are a couple of tweaks that we are allowed to do. These are anonymous surveys. They require parental agreement to take it for students in grades 6 through 8 and then 9 through 12. Our first students to take it will probably be our outgoing seniors because they'll take it first simply because of their timeline. We'll be taking these and then getting back not only our own by grade, gender, demographics, and so on, but also in comparison to. As you know, the last time we did this in 2017, it was very useful. It helped actually to create our wellness program at the high school. I think we need to do more work in that area in the earlier grades as well. But it does require your approval prior to going out, and then each parent has the right through the age of 17. 18-year-olds do not require parental approval by statute, but we do communicate with parents.
Okay, so I actually read through question by question the surveys, and I did not find anything that was objectionable. I think that there may be some parents that are a little bit dicey on some of the topics. They're harsh topics, I guess. But at the same time, they can not give their approval. Not opt out, but they're not going to give their approval. So it's not. It's assumed that they're not doing it unless they say they can. Right. My only question would parents did you see this beforehand to know what it was about?
Yes, we will provide any parent who. Well, I think one of the things we're going to do this year that's different is we're going to put it on our website and communicate to parents and say that it's on our website. And then, of course, if any parent wants to, they can come by and get a hard copy. We'll have to make them a copy or email it to them.
All right, I have no issues with that.
And Joe, just for clarification, how were these surveys developed?
So these are developed through the state. They come from the state to the Massachusetts Health Surveys, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember the exact title, but we utilize a third-party consultant who actually puts it together electronically. It used to be paper pencil, if you remember. Now, since our last time, it's all electronically. The kids get in. We really do ask my superintendent's advisory group met this week of students in grade 6 to 12. And they were commenting about how, they really want students to take the surveys, all surveys, and we didn't discuss this survey, but all surveys, because they do lead to change. They do lead to us, really looking in the mirror to see if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing or missed something, or if we're not doing it to the best that we should be. So this survey talks about probably the critical issues of sexual health, but really the main ones for us that we see in today's world is around vaping and drugs. You don't have to read a paper outside of Norton to figure out that Norton, like every community has its own issues that come forth. And so how our students are, how early they're involved with these types of things becomes really important because that establishes things like when and where should we be teaching certain topics? How safe do students feel? Are questions that are important for us to know about.
I think some of the domestic questions too are important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think making sure that families know that, for example, things like the interface are available, that you can call this 1-800 number and get somebody on the other line who can help you through the minutia of insurance support or your lack of having insurance or the proper insurance and get your potential suicidal child support without having to just go to the emergency room in the hospital and maybe not getting what you want. So
I just had a couple of questions, just like minutia kind of stuff. But so is it going to be the 2022 survey?
So it's public. Yeah, it's public. It's actually the 21 survey because typically these surveys are done in the fall.
Okay.
But what happened is because we had so much discontinuity in the fall, many of us have decided to do these in the spring after having a period of time where we're not just out of school and in school. For example, this was actually supposed to be done last year, but because of the hybrid model, none of us felt comfortable doing it. Yeah, we just felt like we were going to be all over. So we in Norton and many others like us have moved it to the spring. But I'll ask if the title should be changed.
It doesn't. I was just asking. And then under question 12, the third one down says teacher or some other adult at school not mentioned in Part B. Where's Part B?
Which survey was that?
The middle school, question 12. I missed like the breakdown, but I was just reading it like I was a student to see what.
So it's on, it's question
Yeah,
12.
question 12, the 1, 2, 3rd answer down. Teacher or some other adult at school not mentioned in part
It
B.
means the school psychologist.
Right, it means part B, like the
Oh, so
answer
they're
B.
labeled A, B, C.
Yeah, these
okay.
are, I'm
We
sorry,
just
these
don't
are
see
all
it.
be labeled, you just didn't see it. These were all be labeled, by section. So
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it means. Good,
Okay.
good catch though.
Well, and then just personal safety on the next page was just kind of by itself. So I was like, is that, but now I think it's just the way it printed. It was
It's
supposed
the
to
way
be
it
the
prints.
category.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
It
Perfect.
doesn't print in a nicer way.
Yeah.
It's on the screen.
No, that's fine. Yeah, okay.
It does require your vote.
Before we, try to make sure there's no other questions on that. Nope. And I don't see anything from Karen as well. So I would entertain a motion to approve the Norton Middle School and Norton High School health surveys.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor, Mrs.
yes.
Scally?
Yes.
Mrs. Stern?
Yes.
Mr. Sheedy?
Yes.
Mr. Sabas is a yes as well. Okay, next up, we have the review and vote on the Springtown meeting articles.
Okay, we have 3 articles that we move forward to the town meeting. The first one is a supplemental FY22 appropriation for $395,000. We've recognized about $700,000 of unanticipated funding costs for staffing this year after the budget was approved in the spring. It's about 8.5 FTE plus about $175,000 in substitutes. We're able to support about $305,000 through budget efficiencies and utilizing grant funds. So we're requesting $395,000. We will continue to look at that number as we move closer to town meeting and try and reduce it or eliminate it completely, but that is a request we're moving forward at this time. The second article is for the sewer project for the Henry Yale and the high school to connect to the sewer line on Route 123. We don't have a number in there right now, but we did get some numbers this week from Yale, and it's about $512,000 for this project. 360 would be construction costs, 80,000 in engineering costs, and then a 20% contingency for $72,000. The third article that we move forward is for the requesting funds for the COVID-19 emergency sick leave fund. This is a fund that was put together by the state, and then employees can request up to $850 for a 40-hour week if they are out for COVID-related reasons. They have to fill out an application form and then supply backup to show what the COVID-19 reason was that they were out. We submit that to the state through a website, and then they send a check back to the town. So one check, I believe, has already come back to the town. It's somewhere in the range of about $12,000 to $15,000. We know we have a couple more employees that are going to submit. So we're going to request those funds come back to the school so we can pay any employee that may have been gone unpaid during that time, or to return sick days to employees that may have used their time to take off.
I have no questions. I actually have one question. On the third, it's more of a logistical question, Matt. On the third article, if for some reason that got turned down, I would assume those funds go back to the state then.
No, so the town has, we've received the money. They receive it in as miscellaneous revenue. So it just gets absorbed into the town coffers, through miscellaneous revenue. If it gets turned down, then we would just not return the sick days to the employees or pay the employees who are out for those days.
Okay. And the state would not have an objection to that? The state would not have an objection to them giving us money to give the employees and then the town saying, okay, we'll just take it?
I did ask the state that question, and they do not have an objection. They said the way the money is handled is up to each individual town.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Doesn't make
Yeah.
On a personal note, I will just say this, that as a taxpayer in the great state of Massachusetts who pays into the state's coffers, I'm appalled at the least that they would take that money and then be so cavalier with it, quite frankly. But okay, that's
It does. It seems like a very clear use of funds. A request has been made, an expense was incurred. Seems like a pretty easy transition, but the state is just not they're allowing the towns to make their own decisions.
Again, I'm just really surprised at the lack of oversight by the state. That is amazing to me that they would not have a better handle on that. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on any of the other? No. Dan or Kathleen, any questions?
Nope.
And
No, I'm good.
I don't see Karen saying any questions on this one either, so we'll move forward with a vote to approve the 3 articles as written in our packet.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor, Mrs. Scully?
yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mrs. Stern?
Yes.
Mr. Sheedy?
Yes.
And Mr. Savas is yes as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay, next up we have the vote to appoint a school committee member as the secondary signer for expense and payroll warrants. Dan, I think you had said you would potentially volunteer for this. Is that still?
Sure. No problem. Happy to do it.
All right.
I
Matt,
actually thought I was, so that's why I figured I would just say yes.
Matt, do we need a backup to the backup? I know at one point I thought we had 3 of us just in case because we ran into a situation.
Yeah, I think we're good with 2. Yeah, we were pretty good. Like this summer, we used a secondary and we were pretty good. I don't think we need 3 at this time.
Okay.
Of course, now that I've said it, we probably will run into some situation, but if it comes up, we'll.
He's there. I'll just be the backup to the backup.
I thought we had actually gone through this and this may have been prior to Matt's arrival that any one of us could be. I thought there was something that we were going towards that whoever was available could do it. Like all of us were authorized signers, but maybe I may be not thinking that clearly, but I thought that was something we looked into or were going to look into.
Yes, you're correct. We did do that. That was in my time. I think it was my first year I was here. We kind of put that in place. The town didn't like it.
Okay, that's probably what it was.
Yeah, it was a little too fluid as to who was coming in to do the signing, and and I get once you read the act that kind of allows us to do it, you could see that it was very clearly they wanted to have a named signed member that was assigned to it. So they allow for the secondary, but having everyone kind of as a backup was a little too fluid for them.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, the only reason why I thought of the backup to the backup is because if I do have, or if one of us have kids that work in the system, like I did last year, then it would be all in. And if he's away, that's why I thought maybe if we had somebody else too.
It's a fair argument, yeah.
Well, just because I ran into it last year.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention it.
Okay. All right, so I would entertain a motion to approve Dan Sheedy as the backup member on signing for expenses and payroll warrants.
So moved.
Second.
Second,
All those in favor, Mrs. Cohen?
yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mrs. Stern?
Yes.
Mr. Sheedy?
Yes.
And I have yes as well. Okay. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
Okay. Accept other business.
Really quick, I did start meeting with the student advisory group. Our group of 6 to 12 students is my favorite thing. Next meeting will be on me, and we will be getting town spout teacher for our meeting. That is something I think that goes back to 2 years that I owe these kids. Some of them are no longer with us.
What time should we show?
12:15, central office. Thanks to many people's work, but really Matt Wells, who's really going to take a lead on a lot of this right now. The bid for the athletic complex is underway, so I just want to make sure that everybody knows that, as well as another bid that is currently already in, and that is the before and after school program, also out of Matt's office. The bid for the AC will be open on the 31st of this month at, I believe, is it 2 p.m., Matt?
I think we had set 2 p.m., yeah.
Yeah, we'll get you the X on that.
And the AC is the athletic complex.
Yes,
not
I'm
the
sorry.
actual.
Yes, the AC.
Yeah. Just to be
Yeah, not AC, not air conditioning to the schools, but the athletic complex. Maybe that should be next. I have something really fun coming up. On the 17th and the 21st, I will be playing principal at the Yale Elementary School. There will be a lot of fun, I can guarantee it. And the school committee would like to potentially look at rotating visits to the schools, which we have not done in 2 years. So I'm recommending that we start on the 24th and we start at the LGN. Then we go to the JCS in April and the Hay, and finish at the high school on the 12th of May, And that's subject to no other issues going on at the school, so that could be tweaked. But that's what I'm looking at.
And you'll send out that rotation?
Yeah, I'll send out the rotation and I'll have Terry review it to make sure there's nothing else going on at the schools.
Okay, that's fine. I may actually tweet that.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, we're good for it, and I have no other business to bring for you.
I just have one other thing. I don't think I mentioned this before, but this year we are bringing back It Takes Community.
Oh, yes.
So we have scheduled the game for May 6th. Usually it's like around March 6th, but with the no masks or the mask being optional, we thought now is maybe a time people would feel more comfortable coming out. So we're starting to look for our teachers to play, and our police not playing, and our police officers to play. Some sponsors and tickets are going to be on sale soon. We'll get information out, but we do hope that people come out. Since our last event, which was March 6th of 2020,
I remember.
we have helped 51 families in the last couple of years, either because of a loss or because of financial hardship due to COVID. So hopefully this will be a great event. May 6th. Friday night.
And you said tickets.
Yeah, we'll get information out. It's $10 a ticket. Yeah, and it's gonna be through Venmo, or you can mail a check to an address, or you can send them into the schools and we'll put you on a list for the door, like we've done for the last few years. Well, 2 years ago, last few years.
Yeah. Gonna be there, right? Okay. Does anybody else have anything further? No? Okay. Then our next meeting will be Thursday, March 24th. As Joe just mentioned, we're going to do that at the LG, 6 o'clock. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Sorry, I'm going to pause you guys 1 second to make sure that this is not a question. Okay, Kathleen, maybe you have audio issues here. All those in favor, Mrs. Cohen?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Sheedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Stern, if you can hear me?
Yes.
She can. Excellent. And I'm a yes as well. All right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate you coming.
Have a good night.